Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fearlessly Authentic. I am your host, Jody Harrison Bauer, and I'm so happy to have you join me once again. Over 100 countries are listening to this show, and we've got a great one today. So stay tuned. If you are a first-time listener, this is the place where we educate you, empower you, and yes, you will be very entertained today and inspire you to go live a fearlessly authentic life. Live. We are live. That's why I'm saying that. So give me a few minutes before I introduce you, Keith, and I'm so happy to have you on the show. If you want to follow us on YouTube, just check me out on all social platforms, Jody Harrison Bauer on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, every place. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. And actually, we are on all streaming podcast platforms. So please, we have a 5-star review rating, and I would be thrilled if you keep leaving us messages so we know how we can improve the show and what questions you have, because a lot of the shows are based on the feedback that I get from you, right? So on to my amazing guest, Keith Yackey. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Such an honor to be here again, Jody. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we had so much fun last time that I felt like we had so much more to talk about, and I'm just so happy we were able to make today work.
I love
And
it.
you look great. You look like you're tanned and super fit. Not that you didn't look super fit before, but
Yeah.
we're in our black. We both have black t-shirts. We're doing bicep curls and, showing off our biceps, and the intro. Yeah.
Yes.
So just before I introduce you, like, did you like lose some weight, or like what happened? Like you?
Yeah, I'm optimized. I'm really dialed in on my thing. I'm trying to think of how long ago was it that we did this? This was,
I think it was like July or August of last year.
so it's been 12 months or 18 months anyway, right?
Right.
Okay. So, dude, I know I just called you a dude. I apologize.
It's okay. My husband calls me man and dude, so it's fine.
So much has happened since you and I have talked last, and the business has been booming. We've had close to 250 guys come through the program since you and I have talked last.
Wow.
So much has happened with Jesse and I in terms of our connection, and we've just figured out so much more than since the last time I've talked to you. And so, yeah, so thank you for noticing. I have lost a lot of weight. I'm in it. I'm in it to win.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah, there's like a glow, and we're going to get to your podcast and what you do, but let me give you a proper introduction. But I just had to like say that because you got on the screen. I'm like, oh, he's gotten really fit. Not that you weren't before, but like I noticed it. So, and I know that like when we transform ourselves mentally and physically, it's like a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Thank you, Jody.
Yeah.
Thank you. I feel sexy as fuck. Oh, am I allowed to?
Good. Yes, you can say anything. We could say fuck, shit, anything you want to say. Okay. So here is your proper intro. Keith Yackey is the founder and creator of MarriedGame.com. When his wife left him 5 years ago, he realized that he was the problem and not his wife. And not that his wife was wait, I said that all wrong. When his wife left him 5 years ago, he realized that he was the problem and that his wife was no longer attracted to him. Since getting her back, Keith has dedicated his life to teaching men how to get their wives to want to have sex with them again. And that's what we talked a lot about last time. Yeah. By doing one simple thing, becoming the most attractive version of themselves. We focused a lot of the show about that. And I could tell by watching you on social and listening to your podcast that things have evolved. So tell me about the podcast. Tell me what you're doing to help people in their marriages. Blanket, and then we're going to get really specific.
Okay, cool. It feels like a warm, it's such a warm reception from you, Jody, and I love that. I just feel so warm around you. And
thank you.
Yeah. So listen, I lost my wife 5.5 years ago. And she basically said, hey, listen, dude, you run your business, you come home and talk about your business, you fall asleep on the couch. And that's when she left. And I realized, yes, it was all on me, and she was no longer attracted to me. So I've just gone down this vein of what does it really truly mean to be the most attractive version of me for me. And so the frameworks that have come out of that, now I do the show twice a week, whether it's with a guest or it's once a week for sure with my wife. I used to have a co-host that sometimes pops in, my buddy Garrett. And so there's all this dialogue around what does it truly mean to be the most attractive version of you? And we just are really candid about, like, today we just got done with the podcast before jumping on here, where my wife and I were talking about all sorts of cool, crazy, kinky shit and just stuff that we do and who we are and what we struggle with and what we've learned this week as a couple. So we're kind of saying, listen, we believe we're the best couple we've ever met, and we haven't met anybody yet to say that, no, you're not. But we also are still climbing the mountain to the next peak for us, which is learning who we are. Like, oh shit, I'm really insensitive about that. I can't believe I do that. Or damn, why don't you have more empathy? So it's just a real conversation between a husband and a wife that really radically love each other, are totally attracted. When I'm done with this podcast, I'm going to go home and give her a good one up in the bedroom. And so it's like, we've got these things going, but yet we still struggle with the same shit everybody else struggles. And we're just sharing, here's how we got through it. Here's what we do.
And people want to know about real people and their struggles.
Yeah.
And just like I would tell my clients that the struggle, that's the really, really messy part in the middle, but it's the struggle that gives us the strength, right?
Yeah.
And when we're going through that messy shit, we're like, you don't even see the light at the end of the tunnel. When your wife left you, you're thinking, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? But I want you to explain what you were feeling, because you really didn't go to that, oh my goodness thing. You didn't panic. You started working on yourself. And I want you to explain that. But it's the struggle that really gives us that strength. But then we need to keep working on it and working on it. And I remember when you were on the show the last time and we went off camera and I was sharing some things that were going on in my life, because my husband works all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he has since changed the way he works. And our relationship has taken a totally different turn for the better, and he is more attractive to me now, because you can take the most beautiful man in the world and they could be the ugliest person in the world to you, because personality matters and the time that they spend with you matters. And if you're in a relationship with somebody and they're not spending time with you, how do you have time to be intimate, flirt, and fuck, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Well, this is, we kind of talked about, hey, I listed out my dials last time and, how do you actually create attraction and that type of thing. So we've got that episode. But what you're mentioning right now is something that we've been really cracking the code on as of late. And it's long-term attraction in a marriage versus short-term attraction when you're single. And they're twin cousins once removed. And it's like this. So attraction isn't just attraction is attraction is attraction. When you're single, and I'll set the context and then fire away questions, because there's a lot of scenarios we can go through. And I can tell you, men are going to really feel what I'm saying, but ultimately guys feel trapped in a long-term relationship if they're not getting sex. Because they're like, hold on a second. I agreed to have sex with this one lady. Now she doesn't want to have it with me. And dude, the rest of his world looks like an absolute fucking prison sentence. It's like,
well, I think, I'm going to interrupt you. So I think it's the same thing for women. There's a reason why we say the power of the pussy, right? Because if you feel powerful there, in that chakra and that zone, you are going to be powerful everywhere. I know that I perform better in the outside world when I'm having more sex, good sex, not just sex. I mean, I'm married. So, I mean, I don't mean to say that's not good sex, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not going and having sex with several different people. So in case my husband's listening right now, but it's like when you are having
watch. No, I'm kidding.
right. But when you're having meaningful, good sex or just fucking, that's when you feel powerful in your body. So explain the long-term, short-term.
Okay. So I have a phrase. I said it, every man guys want to feel like the fucking man, but it's hard if the man isn't fucking. Okay. And so
I like that.
Yeah, it's really true. And so what happens is let's say we're single, that's short-term attraction. we always say that guys love TNA. What do we love? We love tits and ass, right? And if guys are like, I don't love that, well, okay, well, what body part do you touch when you're eventually naked with a lady? It's probably the tits and ass primarily, and then you move around. But women want tits and ass too, or women want TNA too, but it's not tits and ass. They want time and attention. They want time and attention.
Okay, can you say that one more time for the men listening?
Yes.
What do women want, Keith?
Time, TNA, time and attention.
Yes.
But that doesn't work in a short-term attraction mode. See, when I was single and I've had sex with hundreds and hundreds of women before I got married to my wife. So I knew what I wanted. I knew what the world offered out there. And I didn't just have sex with hundreds of women. I had sex with hundreds of the most beautiful women in the magazines, women in the movies, all the stuff. Okay. And I could not give them my attention at first. They had to earn it. Because if I readily gave them my time and attention, then it shows that I have no options. But when I'm single and I have a tremendous amount of options, that lady who wants me to be her husband, she wants to be with a supremely valuable man, a guy who's making a bunch of dough, has a great
high value,
yeah, high value man. She wants to be with him, but she knows, hey, he's got a lot of options. So she has to put in the time and attention to try and get this guy's attention, because as a supremely valuable man, my time is valuable, my energy is valuable, my effort is valuable. I'm not just going to give it to anybody. And so you have to earn that. That's short-term attraction. And truly, the most beautiful women I've ever met, I almost had to act as if I wasn't interested. And I got to a point where I actually truly wasn't, because you have so much abundance of what you want that any new thing is like, maybe, but I got 4 women right here that were begging me to come have sex with them. Who are you and what do you have to offer? So there's this selectivity when you're single. And so the attraction is but that's a mechanism. The mechanism of short-term attraction is, I have a lot of options. What do you offer? What do you bring to the table?
Right.
Okay. So now she's putting her best foot forward.
Right.
As soon as they say, I do. And now you're only for each other.
Yeah.
Things radically change.
Because
if you stop, if you stop giving her attention, she's going to feel neglected. Yes. She's going to feel like, why did I even pick you if you don't even want to be with me? So now you have to give them a tremendous amount of attention, and it's what she craves. I fundamentally believe that a high value woman craves attention from a high value man more than anything on planet Earth.
I love that you're talking about a high value man and a high value woman. There was a girl who's a young woman who's been on my show several times, and she talks about that a lot as well. And I think more people need to talk about the high value man and the high value woman, because so many times you see a high value woman with a low value man, and vice versa. And I mean, I know people like that, and I'm like, why? What's bringing you together? I don't get it. Like, you both should be high value, in my opinion.
But that's actually the building blocks, Jody. I can't believe I even forgot to say that was step one. Step one is you have to become a high value man. See, a lot of guys in a relationship or out of relationship are like, oh, I want more sex. You're right. Like, dude, you're not a high value man. Like, everyone goes, I want my wife to want me. Well, are you wantable? I want to fuck hot women. Are you fuckable? Like, let's be honest. Right.
So in your married game, when you're working with men who say things to you like that, so do you want to switch over to what you do in the married game, or do you want to, let's finish the short-term, long-term?
Well, I want to finish the long-term attraction thing, because that's what married game is all about.
Okay.
It's about having game within your marriage to have the attraction still, like, not only flow, but build. My wife and I are more attracted to, like, when she came in with her blouse, with her tits hanging out, I was like, damn, dude, what are you doing after this show? And when I'm done with that show, she's like, well, I'll be at home waiting for you. I'm like, all right, sounds good. So there's this attraction happening. So long-term attraction, the short-term attraction, the mechanism is, I have options. Who the hell are you? And why should I give my time to you? But when you've said I do, and now you're in a long-term relationship or you're married, now she is craving that attention. Whereas before I wouldn't give it. Now I have to give it, because that's the sunlight and the water that causes her to really open up. We hear this phrase all the time.
Yes.
We hear this phrase all the time. She has daddy issues. What the fuck does that mean? Well, in my world, and what I've discovered it means is she wants the attention of a high value man, because her dad was the most high value man she met. The very first high value man she met was her dad. Now, in the world, he may have not been very high value, but to her, he was the most valuable man.
I love that. Love it. Did you come up with that on your own? Like,
everything I share here, I come up with on my own. And because
I was half kidding. I was half kidding because I listened to the show about the gurus and all the bullshit, and we don't listen. I don't either. I come up with my own crap. But I love that, because I'm so tired of hearing that about daddy issues. That's bullshit. I mean, bullshit in, no, she's looking for a high value man, but I never put two and two together. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. So short, long-term attraction, he goes, okay, I'm with this man that I thought was high value, because he was when we were in the courting, dating world. Now that I have him, what typically happens with most men, they go, well, I've got her. You know, she said I do, now it's done. When in reality, you did not cross the finish line. You just stepped into the starting blocks.
Yes.
That's the psychology of, okay, now I have to win. Now I get to, not have to, now I get to romance and win this lady over day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. So, and I always say honeymoon sex is for the minor leaguers. Soul sex, where you feel radically connected, whether it's banging the headboard and fucking each other crazy, or whether you're giving the soft, most tender love making ever. It's about the souls connecting. And I've found, yes, guys want sex, but what they want more is they want to be wanted. They want to be desired for. And so does a woman. A woman wants to be wanted. A woman wants to be desired, and she wants to know she's beautiful. So she's saying, hey, ma'am, high value man, that's now my husband, or now my long-term boyfriend, or now my life partner, however you guys structure it. I need your attention. I want your attention. And most guys, that's when they go, I got the girl. And so now they start focusing more on the other stuff, and she feels neglected. So why the hell would she want to be connected and have soul sex with this dude that literally just looks at her like a walking vagina? And he only comes around when he wants pussy. Well, that would feel like if you and I are married, Jody, and the only time you came and talked to me was when you wanted money from me, I'd start to feel like a walking wallet. Well, that's what women do. They feel like walking vaginas.
Absolutely. You know, I am, as you're talking, I'm thinking about I was married for 17 years, and, you know, it was like really the second person I ever had sex with. And that was the man that I married. And what happened was, he was, as most men are, in their 30s and in their 40s. I got divorced when I was 42, we're the same age. And he was just working and working and working. And I was like, hello, remember me? And that is a huge reason. And from there was some like verbal abuse, and, you know, because you start getting nasty with each other, the resentment starts, you know, then the things gets taken away. Oh, well, I'm not going to give you sex. Well, I'm not going to give you this. And it's a horrible, horrible place to be. And that's why I opted out of the relationship, because it wasn't healthy for me. He didn't recognize that it wasn't healthy for him, but I'm sure he did eventually. But yeah, it's all I wanted was a little bit of attention, and then the sex would be amazing. But yeah, it's the attention. It really is. And I think for most women, they don't need a lot of attention. They just need a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be a trip around the world. It could just be a flower, a card, anything, right?
It's all the small things. And what the small things say to a woman is, I'm thinking about you.
Right.
And man or woman, doesn't matter. If I'm gonna say a scenario and every person goes, I feel that. Imagine you had a mentor or a coach or a teacher, and every time you talked with them, they looked at you and they gave you their full attention. How fucking special did you feel?
Yeah.
Well, that's how she views you in the beginning. She respects you. And so when you do shine down your attention on her, she goes, I'm loved. I'm loved. I want to tell the world about it. But when you no longer care about her, and we say this, you need to care about the whole of her, not just the hole in her.
Mm-hmm.
Jody, tell me about your how you grew up. Tell me about what food you like. Tell me about
Right.
why do you like this? I want to know more. And so that's where a lot of affairs happen, is because people start to connect on an emotional level because they're
Totally.
curious and they're concerned. Tell me more about you. I want to know about you. Not just,
Right.
hey, can I stick my dick in you and get off, in most guys for
Exactly.
3 minutes?
So that's what happened with you and your wife. You weren't giving
Yeah.
her a lot of attention because you were working all the time. You're making all this money. She's home with the kids. And she was like, hey, dude, you're not giving me enough attention. I'm out of here. So what
Yeah.
happened? Is that sort of the scenario?
Yeah. That's basic scenario. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you didn't like wallow. You really worked on yourself, didn't you? Can you
I
just take us
wallowed
through
for a
that?
little bit. I made
Okay.
all the mistakes. So we started in this business about 4 years ago, helping people get their ex back. We did it underground. I had other businesses. I just was doing this as something that my friends, they all have businesses. So they're like, hey man, my head of sales guy just got served divorce papers. You think you can help him? I'm like, of course I can help him. So I started doing that and gained our confidence over 2 years of like helping 50 or 60 guys get their wives back. Like, we
Mhm.
know this. So now we say, if you want to get your sex back or your ex back, we can help you. Right. So what happened was I did all the same stupid shit that every guy does once they lose their girl. I wrote her a song. I put a PowerPoint presentation together. I was like, oh my gosh, do you remember this? And she's like, and it looked really pathetic. It looked radically pathetic. And it's because I was gaining my validation off of her validation to me. And that's super
Mhm.
valid. We call it the mom matrix. When a man is looking for a little pat on the head or a little bit of a gift or
Mhm.
whatever, like you fall into the mom matrix. You're looking
Yeah.
for a cookie, a nookie, or a gold star.
Right.
And no woman likes that. Nobody goes, wow, that's super attractive. That looks like
That's
so.
sexy. Wow, I really
Yeah,
wanna have sex with you. Thanks so much for that.
exactly. Like,
Not.
moms don't want to have sex with their kids. It just doesn't happen. So that's really what happened. And I had said, okay, wait a second. I'm only pushing her away. I got to come back and go, what's going on? And I realized there was two plays: to get my ex back or to get your sex back. It's the same thing. But really,
Mhm.
when it comes to getting your ex back, that was our journey. And it was simply this. I go, all right, if I want to move on, I have to move on. And if I want to get her back, I have to move on.
Right. Ooh. I don't think a lot of people think that way. That's why I want
Well,
you to explain that.
yeah, because, well, I had to. Nobody wants to be the reason why somebody has a good life. People want to be around people that have good lives.
Uh, Great. Yes, perfect. Yes. Yes.
So here's what happened. She left. I pouted. I did the thing for about a week or two, and I realized this is not getting me anywhere. It's only pushing her farther away. And I realized, oh shit, you know what? This is where this statement was born. I have to become the most attractive version of me for me. That's it.
Mm.
I don't do anything to get laid in my relationship. I don't do anything to get sex. I don't do anything to get my wife to love me. I do all of this for me. My standard of why I got in great shape, why I do my hair, why I smell good, is not because I know Jesse loves it. It's because that's my standard. And when somebody looks at a person with a really high standard, that's who they respect. And so,
Yeah.
go ahead. Did you want to say something there? Because I was going
Yeah,
to.
no, I mean, like, you're just dropping, like, great sound bites here, so thank you.
Honored.
It's just you're so on the money here because you're just speaking the truth, and when you do feel good about yourself and you are doing things for yourself, and I heard Jesse say in a recent podcast, and I love her, like, I need to meet your wife,
Yeah.
and I love how she gives you shit and she doesn't, fall into all the bullshit you feed with her, like, I just love her, and she was saying, she got mad at you for something on the show, but she was talking about, um oh, I can't remember what it was just at the tip of my tongue when, you were saying something about it. Oh, about doing things for yourself. Because if she saw you doing things for her like a sad little puppy,
Yeah.
she would be like, "Ew, ew." Like, do it, be your, let's just say, fearlessly authentic self. Be your authentic self because guess what? I'm gonna be that person too. And I only want to be with you because I really dig you. You're the person I was digging, and that's why I married you. And now you're going to try to be some like awful sappy puppy. No, like be yourself. And the more you are, and I want people to understand this so much, like the more you are yourself, you're going to attract those same people, and you're going to just repel the people that don't like it. And that's where I am in my life, because I wasted too much time trying to be somebody I'm not, right? So you're saving a lot of guys a lot of time and helping a lot of marriages by saying things like this. So I just love it.
Thank you. Well, it's now that's the mechanism within marriage. Okay. So the single mechanism of attraction is there's a lot of options. The mechanism within marriage is when you become a highly attractive man, that you set a standard. A lot of guys are like, man, I want a great date life, but my wife's not that in. And I go, you know who's responsible for having a great date life? You. So I tell guys all the time, if their wife doesn't want to go on a date with them, go on one by yourself anyway. You can't negotiate her to think that you're a fun guy. If you're like, I only go on dates if my wife goes with me. That's fucking pathetic. No, man. I go, if you don't want to go on a date with me to go see this movie, I'm going to go see it. If you don't want to go dance, and eventually you have such a high standard, if she doesn't want to rise to it, you have the confidence to go, hey, lady, I love you, but you don't seem to want to enjoy life at all. And you don't seem to like me. So guess what? You don't get to ride shotgun in my life if you're not a fan of who the fuck I am. Because guess what? We in Married Game have a way of objectively telling whether you're really showing up and you're a good dude or not. Most guys aren't confident in how good they are, so they will literally take any scraps, any fucking anything their woman will show them. Oh my God, she gave me a kiss this week. Oh my God. It's like, what are you talking about, man? Right. Here's a way you can tell. Here's what you can tell. If anybody goes up and asks your wife, hey, do you think your husband will cheat on you? If she snickers and laughs like, who would want to sleep with that guy? You're in deep shit.
That's right. My
wife goes, every woman wants to fuck my man. Why? Because he's extremely fuckable. And guess what? Every guy wants to fuck my wife because she's extremely fuckable. Right. That creates the greatest inside joke of all time between her and I. And then that's what causes our souls to connect, because we're both saying, I have a really high standard. And it doesn't feel good when somebody has a high standard and you realize you're not living up to that standard. You just have to swallow your pride and go, you know what? I wasn't living up to my standard, and I need to change that for me. Yeah. Yeah. For you. And, we go through peaks and valleys in our marriages, and it can't always be perfect. Like one of the episodes I was listening to, you pissed her off in the morning. She's like, yeah. And you did something and you're like, I'm sorry. I realized that was really stupid. I don't know what you did. You spilled something and didn't clean it up in the kitchen. It was a recent episode. And, and you were like bantering back and forth, and you got up and turned on the air conditioning in the middle of it. And you said to her, go ahead and talk. And she's like, fuck no. I'm like, you're the one who got up and did this stuff. So I just love, and I'm sure that's why people are listening to your show, is because you're just being real. And I think there needs to be more realness out there. And I think there are a lot of people out there right now trying to be as real as possible, but you're also giving them value. Like, this is what I can teach you. This is real shit. This isn't some person you heard and you had to pay, $50,000 to go to their seminar and do all these things. But I'm going to give you real stuff you can really use. Yeah. So how do people progress? How long do they have to stay with you in order to learn how to become, it sounds like, that high value man, right? Yeah. Well, that's a journey that we're all on, but our program initially is 90 days. And we can get you 75% of the guys that go through my program within the first week or two notice a massive shift within their marriage. And it's because it's an energetic shift. A lot of guys are like, they don't understand the power of energy. Energy is our greatest asset. A lot of people say time is your greatest asset. It's not. Time is, if you have all the time in the world, but no energy to enjoy it, then it's fucking worthless. Yeah. So energy is what makes us alive and makes things happen. And it's so the vibe. It's the vibe. But here's the thing, is a lot of guys have taker energy. They're only doing things to get something from their wife. And that something is sex. And even if she gives it to them, they're like, I don't want that sex. I want the good sex. Oh, you mean the sex that your wife would give to Jason Momoa because she can't fucking sit in a leather seat because she's so wet and she's slipping all over the place because he's so damn attractive? You mean that's the kind of sex you want?
Right.
Have you looked at yourself?
Right.
So
Right.
we start there.
Okay.
And what happens is the energy goes from taker, pouty bitch, to, hey, I'm here to show up because that's what a good guy does. I don't take the trash out because I'm trying to get laid. I take out the trash because that's what a good fucking dude does. I don't hang out with my daughter because I hope my wife sees me hang out with my daughter so I can get laid. I hang out with my daughter because that's what a good fucking dad does. And that's my standard. So the attraction mechanism within long-term relationship that guys start to instantly tap into when they come into our program and we start, I say, I'm going to give you a new set of eyes. You want to see things differently? We give them a new set of eyes and they start to go, oh shit, I understand where she's coming from. Well, no wonder she fucking hates me. No wonder she doesn't want to get naked. Most women don't want to get naked in front of their husband because their husband, every time their wife gets naked around, like, and they're like,
yes, right.
what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? You never seen a naked lady before?
Right.
So it's all of this vibe. So it's a 90-day program that guys come through and we teach them and help them become the most attractive version of themselves for themselves. And they have a lot of bad habits the same way I had them, where they're, they're looking for their wife to, they're looking for approval. They're looking for permission. They're only doing shit so their wife notices. And yet, you know how many wives tell their husbands, don't change for me. I'm already good. Don't change for me. What they're saying is, dude, listen, you got to go become this dude that I originally met and beyond, or else I will not get wet for you because you're acting like a pathetic little bitch right now. And I can't have that.
No, there's nothing more disgusting than a man acting like that. So
it's disgusting.
You mentioned about the date night. I want to go back to that for a second. Okay. So you mentioned that if the wife doesn't want to go on a date night, the husband wants to go out and you say, hey, listen, Johnny, go out on your own dates. Like, don't pick up anybody. Just go out, go to the movies, go sit at dinner, go sit at a bar and talk to the bartender, whatever it is.
Don't shoot pool. Go with your buddies.
Yeah, shoot pool. Anything. Don't be go work out, whatever it is. And then I think that after a while that somebody would do that, and tell me if I'm right or wrong, by doing that consistently and just not waiting for the wife to say, oh, yes, I want to go on a date night with you, that she eventually sees, oh, he's going without me. So could that backfire and say, oh, well, then I guess I don't matter? Or what I did with my husband, because I wasn't getting enough attention and he was working too much, I was going away every month for a week. Bye, 6 months. And finally it was like, oh, we need to go away. We need to do some things. So I think that could have, he could have, if he was an asshole, could have said, well, go to hell, Jody. I don't want to be in this relationship because you seem to want to travel without me all the time. Or you wake up and smell the coffee and go, oh, I need to fix this. So what's when you say go out by yourself, could it backfire on you?
Yeah, everything can backfire.
Okay.
Everything I say can backfire, but nothing backfires if you are in your power. Meaning,
yes,
if I go on a date by myself, I go, hey, Friday night from 6 o'clock to 10 p.m., I'm having fun. And you're always, I'm going to invite you every week and you can say no. And it doesn't make me sad. I go, oh, come on. I'm not going to try and manipulate you into it. Dude, if you don't want to be with me, you don't have to be. But guess what? You don't get to claim me or chain me down. And so this is the I'm talking about getting the guys in my group call me Mufasa, because I'm like, remember who you are. You're a bad.
Yes, I love that.
I give them all the middle name motherfucker. Keith motherfucking Yackey, James motherfucking Dalton, whatever. I go, dude, don't forget, she fell in love with you when you were a cool dude. You've now become a pussy. Yeah. And now you're looking for her permission to not become a pussy. That's the biggest pussy on planet Earth. So if you want to go out, go out. And eventually, if she goes, you're going out too much, you're invited. Well, I don't want to go with you. Hey, this is our line. You ready? And this is so powerful. This is the biggest bomb I'll drop here right now. And it's this. Her response does not dictate my standard. Her response only dictates how long I will live with her living below my standard.
Wow. True. Yeah.
So powerful.
That's really, really powerful.
So if a guy goes on a date for 6 months, every week for 6 months, and his wife doesn't want to go, he then from an empowered position can go, man, I got a real fucking dud over here. She's not very fun. Do I want to actually be with this lady for the rest of my life? And here's what switches. You go from the interviewee to the interviewer. Very different fucking energy, man. The interviewer is like, why should I hire you? As to the interviewee is like, please give me a job. Very different. And that's how there's a lot of these mechanisms that go on that a guy, when he says, hey, I'm going to be a great parent because I'm going to be a great parent. I'm going to be a great partner because that's what a fucking, if I'm getting graded on a partner and I'm getting a 2 out of 10, no wonder she doesn't want, and connection outside the bedroom is what leads to connection inside the bedroom.
I've always said that to everybody who's ever asked me for any advice. The romance, the intimacy, it's all day long. It's forever. It's from the time you wake up in the morning and you leave each other. It's the text messaging. It's the calling. It's whatever. It's sending a picture. I'm thinking about you all day. So finally, when you get home, you're ready to have sex with that person. You dig that person. You're like wet and hard for that person because you've been staying in touch all day long. Yes. It happens. If it's Dudsville outside the bedroom, ain't nothing going to happen in there. Exactly. When the door is closed.
Or it'll just be transactional. And I always say, if you want sex to be a transaction, then it's probably going to feel like transaction, meaning it's going to probably feel like you're having sex with another dude if you're a dude. And it's just like you're not. It's all a pay this, give me this, pay this, give me this, and then it can be withheld and then change. That's bullshit. It's all so fundamentally bullshit when a guy just goes, hey, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna become the best version of me for me. If you like it, awesome. Let's have a good time. If you don't like it, then eventually let's just fucking not continue to suffer long with one another, and let's go out and find somebody who really wants to celebrate us. And it's the guy who's the leader in that.
Right. And so that's sort of what your wife did when she left you 5 years ago. She was like, I'm not putting up with this. You're not the same person I met. I'm leaving. Figure your shit out. Maybe she didn't even say that. Maybe she just said, I'm out of here. And
I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done. I have to figure my stuff out. And I applaud her and I understand that. I'm so happy that you guys have this amazing relationship and are helping so many people. And I know, like, for the story I just shared with you, what I did for 6 months, it woke my husband up.
Yeah.
It woke, and that's what I needed it to do. I'm like, come out from under your microscope and look at the world. And if you still want that shiny object that you needed to have, that you saw dancing on the dance floor, then I'm not running after you. You go get me the same way you went after me 9 years ago or however long it was, and he did, because all we want is the same person we were into when we met you. Like, that's why we married you. Yeah. So, and I think someday, like you said, some guys, like I know with my ex-husband, I probably didn't have the words to explain it back then, but it was, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm getting old. I'm 42. Like, I thought 42 was old. Now I'm 62, but it's just like, it's crazy. It's just really crazy. So I wanted to ask you another question about, so if you get into an argument, let's just say you're helping these men, they're doing everything, but let's just say there's a blip. And of course there's going to be a blip. They get into an argument with their wife, a little tiff. How easily is it to resolve that? Like, what kind of advice do you give somebody who has an argument with their wife?
All right. Can I just say one more thing about the backfire thing before I answer that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. The reason why I don't think it's ever a backfire is because you're going to get what you want anyway. You're either going to get your wife to come on a date with you, or you're going to come to the realization and the harsh reality of, this isn't the one for me. Right. And so then I always tell everybody, no matter what, we're going to help your sex. We're going to fix your sex life. It might not be with the current wife, but you have got to be willing to say, I will not settle. So it's the same thing here with what you're talking about when it comes to the argument. Jesse and I get in arguments. We're both very independent. We're learning, and the goal is too independent to become interdependent, which means we're fine on our own, but we're better together. And so we do have arguments a lot, actually. And the way we reconnect is first of all, I have to get I've become really good at this. I wasn't always good at this, in saying what did I add to this? What is my ownership in this one particular thing? And the reason why that's so hard to do,
it's huge too,
because it hurts your ego so bad. And then you have to admit you did something that was out of, dude, there comes to I think the manliest of men can look to his woman and go, I don't feel loved right now. And I don't know why. I just don't feel loved. And I don't know why. And she can probably say, well, the reason you don't feel loved is because I probably don't love you. And the reason I don't love you is because I don't feel loved by you either. And then we can have this beautiful conversation of what the fuck's actually happening here.
Yeah.
Most people don't say that. They just yell and hurl and throw and I'm right. And I'm call my mom and I know I'm right. And I call my boys and I know I'm right. And so it never ends. Like, I just go, well, we both hate fighting because we both feel radically disconnected each other when we fight. So how do we actually re-engage each other on that? Now, there's a whole process and step to this. I actually think we just did this on a podcast not that long ago, where we explained all the steps of how to reconnect after a fight. And we've just done this so wrong for so long that eventually we're like, hey, are you tired of fucking being mad at each other for 2 or 3 days? Yeah, me too. Well, what can we do? And we both took us really getting honest about our egos and how we're feeling and who feels right. So it's a really long discussion, and there's a host of reasons why it's very hard to get over an argument, because both of us love being right, like most men and women. We actually, believe it or not, in my opinion, the reason why we have such a hard time being wrong is because of how we were conditioned through the school system in America, where being right was the only way you passed.
Wow.
Yeah, it's conditioned into us deep, deep, deep. If you don't pass, then you're a fucking loser. When in reality, true science is, let's see what the fuck happens and let's go with what happens, as opposed to, are you right or are you wrong? And so it's been so conditioned to it. We're either pass or fail, or we have a high grade or a low grade. So it's been conditioned into us. If we don't pass, then we're a failure. And if we don't get a high grade, we're a loser. And so therefore we are not going to fucking lose this argument with this fucking dum-dum that's trying to tell me I'm wrong. And so therefore there's no container for this creativity to go. And one of the things I do, actually, if we're really locking horns on something, I'll take 10 milligrams of a THC gummy sativa. It drops my ego, and I go, hey, what's really happening? I want you to, and she knows she can share in that moment, like, what she really thinks. And I'm not going to be defensive. Defensiveness is the greatest divider of all fucking marriages. And it's what I think really separates people and makes them just divide like crazy. And it's usually so the hard defensiveness.
It's hard to diffuse that ego and defensive behavior, and I've dealt with it in my relationship and other relationships. And, you try as a woman to, like, just be honest with me. You're jealous, or just be honest with me. And then you guys get more defensive. Just be honest. And I think if we could just be honest, but always say it with love. And I think a lot of what you're talking about is so much self-awareness, which maybe you didn't have until your wife left you.
100%. I did not have it. I did not have it. But here's the other thing, but the reason why guys are so defensive is because they don't know that they're being tested. This is a very big thing. Women test men unconsciously, subconsciously, all the time, but there's a reason why they have to test men. Here's why. Number one, we live in a modern age, and so we think everything is modern, and we think men have been modern forever. Men have not been modern forever. We have been fucking in caves and with fire and sticks and beating mammoths and tigers and all this other shit. So we've only recently become modern, as it were. And when I say modern, I'm talking as simple as just running water, showers, baths, fucking food down at 7-Eleven. You used to not be able to survive outside of a tribe. Very, very rare. Very rare. So we were used to being around other people and having to deal with people and actually having to figure out, you can be a total fat fuck, a total nerd, and just hang out on the computer all day and go eat Twinkies and Slurpees and become 600 pounds and still survive. That did not used to be up until about 100 years ago. Okay. That being said, A woman is testing a man because she has to know, are we going to survive? Is my offspring going to be able to depend on you? And so there's this constant testing and pushing. I believe that the man, quote unquote, and I get a little bit of flack for this. I don't give a shit. I think the man is the leader. That doesn't mean to me that a woman can't lead. Doesn't mean that a woman isn't a leader. But when it comes to the actual home in our situation, even Jesse contests me on this, and I love it. Like, I'm the leader. And here's the only reason why I believe I'm the leader. I don't necessarily think it's because it's how we're born or wired, even though I think that's true. But if we go bump in the night, we already know who's fucking getting up and going down and finding out what's going on. We already know. And I go, well, whoever that person is, and if it's in your relationship, it's you, Jody. And if it was in my relationship, it was Jesse. She's the leader. That's it. The one who's willing to give up the most and sacrifice the most on behalf of others is the fucking leader. That's why I believe in leaders. Not because I'm patriarchy, not because I was raised Christian, none of that. It's just, what are we really dealing with here? So
Look,
what? Do you believe that? Or do you not believe that?
No, I do believe it. I know, like, I'm a very strong woman. I was raised, I'm Jewish. So I was raised by a very strong mom. She wore the pants in the family. You know, my dad was passive, but and we're all, me and my two younger sisters, and I'm the oldest also, very strong. But when I'm home with my husband or in my past relationships, I want to know he's going to be the one when, like, to grab the shotgun under the bed. We don't have a shotgun under the bed, but maybe we do. Grab the shotgun under the bed and go when we hear bump in the night. You know, that I need to know that that's him. Like, I'm marrying a man and he has a penis. And to me, and this might be old fashioned, but I want him to be the man. I want him to wear the pants. I do. I'm sorry, but I can hold myself up. If I lived in this house by myself and went bump in the night, I take care of it. That doesn't mean I can't. That means I just want him to. Does that make sense?
100%. So here's what happens. I know we're wrapping up. I want to make sure I make this point. It's this. Women are testing men constantly because she wants to know that she's with the viable option right there, the best option that can protect her. But here's why.
Protect, yeah.
Women test what they want to trust. Can I trust you that you're going to protect me? So she'll test. Can I test you?
Say that again? Say that again.
People test what they want to trust. If you sat down in a chair and it collapsed and went on the ground, and I went and put it back together and threw a couple pieces of duct tape on it, and I said, hey, try it again, try it again. You're going to be putting your hand on it and go, hey, I'm going to test this before I trust it again. And so people test what they want to trust. A woman tests a man, because she wants to trust him. And when the trust goes up, when he passed the test, the trust goes up. When the trust goes up, the lust goes up.
Mm-hmm.
So you want her to test you, because when you pass the trust goes up, the lust goes up. And when the trust goes down, the lust goes down. So when a woman says, I don't really trust my man, not that he's going to cheat, but that he's going to be the fucking man, then her lust goes down and her lady boner goes away.
Yes, I saw that test. You did a podcast episode about that. Test, trust, lust.
Yep.
I love that. You have to be on the show again. I can't believe this hour has gone by so fast. I have all these questions that I never even got to ask you, but you dropped so many great points. I'm so grateful that you talk so honestly. Like, there's no bullshit with you. And I think that's probably why this business is just like growing, your podcast, everything. And I'm just really happy for you because you're living in your truth right now. Yeah. Right.
Yes, very much so. This is just me. Like, it's not a facade. If this was somebody else talking to me, this is who I am all day, every day. And I love talking. I could talk about this for 200 years, man.
Yeah, I love it. So that leads me to my very last question, which is, what does it mean for you to live a fearlessly authentic life?
To not have a committee or a filter that I put anything through. I'm not checking in with a committee on who I am. I'm not putting myself through your filter. I put myself through my own. I'm not checking in with others to say, can I believe this or can I live this way? I'm doing it for me, and it's fearless. There's fear. People want to connect and be a part of other people. They want to be accepted. I don't give a fuck about that. I have to look at myself in the mirror and go, I love that man. I love that man.
I love that. No, and I even see the growth from the last time we spoke. So I'm just so happy for you. How can people get in touch with you? Best way.
KeithYackey.com. We finally got my KeithYackey.com, and it will show up Or if they just want to talk about the marriage stuff, they can go to marriedgame.com. That's the same. But the keithyackey.com has the podcast, the Married Game, the Ascend, all the shit. Just keithyackey.com.
Okay. And what is the name of the podcast?
Married Game.
Oh, it is. Okay. I thought for some reason it was
The
another
Married Game
name. I don't.
podcast. Yeah. Married
Okay.
Game podcast.
All right. Keith Yackey, thank you so much for being on the show, and stay well, my friend. You look fabulous. You sound great. And I'm just honored to have you and to have you share all this unfiltered information to help people have wonderful married lives. So
Thank you
you
for having
very
me.
much.
It's a total honor to be here.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for listening to the show this week. And until next week, go live your most fearlessly authentic life. Bye.